Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen,
if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. Welcome to Rob Nelson Live. Whoop, watch that. That's how the camera goes dipping down. All right. So the Eagles, Sunday night football. The Eagles have the ball. Eagles, Lions. Eagles have the ball. You know, minute and 47 seconds to go in the game. Fourth quarter. Lions are down a touchdown. All they got to do is stop the Eagles, get the ball back, and they got a minute and 47 seconds and 3 timeouts to try to tie the game. No guarantees, but definite opportunity. You know, Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback, fires a pass toward the sideline to get a first down. If they get the first down, game's over. They'll run the clock out, essentially. He's kind of head-to-head with the Lions defensive back, you know, Rock Ya-Sin. And the pass is incomplete. Doesn't get it. And suddenly the yellow flag comes flying out. Pass interference on the Lions. Okay, why am I talking about this? Because there was no pass interference. Zero. Chris Collinsworth in the booth, literally. You know, when the commentators in the booth lose it, you know it's bad. He's like, what? He's like, how is that a penalty that you watch it 6 times in replay? It's like, if anything, the receiver shoved against him, right? It's interference if you prevent the person from catching the ball. If anything, the receiver shoves the defender away, which is a penalty. It's called defensive pass interference. Shoves him out of the back so he can't get in front of the ball. He's like, how is that a penalty? I'm thinking, the refs are right there. They're right there. They see it better than we do. They see it better than the booth does. They see it better than the replay does. The ref saw, if he could see the interference he called on the defender, he certainly saw, which there was none, by the way, he certainly saw the receiver shove the defender back with his arm to push him out of the way to try to catch the ball. The Eagles win the game. The Lions potentially would have lost anyway, but they had a minute 47 chance to tie up the game, might have done it. Why is it relevant? Because everybody watching goes, how did the ref not see that? Why did the ref not call that? Was the ref sleeping? Was he blind? No, he made up a pass interference call. He clearly made one up. Anybody in the game watching could tell. I don't care which side you're on. The defender did not commit pass interference. If anybody did, it was the receiver. So why did the ref call it? So in my head, I'm like, this is what makes you think the games are rigged. This is what makes you think there's no ref, a college football ref. I don't care, you know, like Pop Warner ref would see what that was. You're right there. This is a critical play. If you call that pass interference, the Eagles win the game. If you don't call it, the Lions get a fair shot with a minute 47 and 3 timeouts to try to tie it up. It's that simple. If it's blatant, you call it. If it's close, maybe you call it. If it's non-existent, but actually really apparent that the other player committed it, the one you're not calling it against, you wonder, why? Why did you do that? Did someone pay you? Did the league call down and say, we want the Eagles to win this game? We liken Eagles we want to see them go to the Super Bowl. They're doing great. Lions, we don't care so much about. We like Philly. It's a better market. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that's what I'm thinking. And lots of other people are thinking. And sure, you can write it off to, no, you know, the ref just made a call. No, it wasn't just like a random call. It wasn't a holding call in the middle of a game. This is a game-deciding call. If you call this penalty against the Lions, they lose the game. Guaranteed. They won't get the ball. The Eagles will keep the ball to win. If you call it against the Eagles, who committed the foul, you give the Lions a better position after the Eagles punt the ball and guarantee that they will give the ball back to the Lions, because it would have been, right? It would have essentially required them to punt. But if you call the penalty against the team that didn't commit it and make them lose the game, it feels stacked. And that is how so many people in this country feel right now. They feel that the deck is stacked against them. Now, we're in an interesting time where people on both sides politically feel the deck is stacked against them. A lot of people on the so-called left, I'm just going to call them the so-called left, not because I don't think there is a left, because I don't think these people inherently necessarily identify, all of them, with the left. They identify with a common theme. The system's out to get them. They are losing ground and they can't catch up. Starbucks, they had what was called the Red Cup Rebellion. Most of you probably didn't even notice it. There are a group of Starbucks employees who are unionized. And it's not most of them, but it's this bunch. I don't know if you didn't know that. Starbucks has a union for workers. Not every worker's in the union. It's not like where almost everyone's in the union. Actually, I think the majority of baristas aren't. And they went on strike the other day on Red Cup Day, right? When Starbucks starts having the red cups. And they went on strike in 65 stores in big U.S. cities. So only in big U.S. cities would you even notice. L.A., New York, Chicago, Philly. And they did it because they wanted to disrupt Red Cup Day, which is one of Starbucks' busiest days, because they give you free reusable cups. They're not paper, they're plastic reusable. I'm not a Starbucks guy, but that's what they do with the Red Cup thing. And I love they call it the Red Cup Rebellion, right? Like the teacup, like what was it? The Teacup Rebellion, like that started our country. I don't think it was called the teacup, though, was it? And the union actually said, we're turning the Red Cup season into the Red Cup Rebellion, because they believe Starbucks won't give them a fair settlement. And they're union busting, trying to bust the union down. So New York, Philly, Minneapolis, San Diego, Dallas, etc. Even Seattle, hometown of Starbucks. Keep Seattle in the back of your head for a second, because we're coming back to it. So, they're prepared to strike more. It won't have a major impact. Starbucks will or won't give in. At the end of the day, there's not probably enough unionized workers. I mean, it's a small, so I actually did look up the number. It's under 4% of the employees. So 96% of Starbucks employees aren't unionized. Here's where it's significant, though. The workers want better staffing, better hours, more take-home pay, and they have a bunch of, hundreds of unfair labor. I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what the unfair labor practices are that these cases allege, which they filed with the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board. It's a federal board. And Starbucks is like, look, less than 1% of our places, our stores are affected. So, we're sad they're doing it, but here's when you're sitting in the power seat. This is the Starbucks answer. We're disappointed that Workers United, who represents less than 4% of our partners, has called for a strike instead of returning to the bargaining table. Here's what's interesting. Starbucks is a good retail job. The average is $30 an hour. That's an average pay at Starbucks. Beats most competitive opportunities, right? I was in the Starbucks the other day and I looked at their program and what they offer. It was like they offer stock grants, which is great if you want to kind of build forward. They offer free complete degrees at Arizona State University online, like 160 different degrees that you can get from ASU online. Free. You can go to work at Starbucks, get $30 an hour, and we'll pay for you to get a degree from Arizona State University. So you can get your college degree. They offer 9 weeks of maternity or paternity benefits and a healthcare plan. You're striking against that? You think you're getting screwed with that? Just go to 7-Eleven, Thornton's in Tennessee. Go to almost any basic job at that level, entry level job, to see that level of benefits. You don't. And yet they're striking. That's how disaffected people feel. How A, entitled to something, but B, disaffected they feel. You know, Mondami, the mayor-elect in New York, of course, came out supporting him. He's like, he's making his defiant stand. I'm not buying any Starbucks while they're on strike. Good for you. But he asked everybody else, you know, no contract, no coffee, boycott Starbucks. I hate to say it. I don't think the strike or Mondami is going to, people want their coffee too much, sadly. Like, and too few people are striking to actually have an impact. I don't think anybody's going to be, I don't think Starbucks is feeling pushed to the table. But that's not my point. You know, I mentioned the other day that in my show on Friday that Katie Wilson, you know, successfully defeated Mayor Bruce Harrell in where? Seattle. A Democratic Socialist candidate defeated a left-leaning Democratic mayor. Mondami in New York, Katie Wilson in Seattle. And her argument, same as his. I want government-backed grocery stores, higher taxes on the wealthy, more affordable housing, living income for everybody. This message is getting redundant and more. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, just the other day, over the weekend, I believe, Ray Huang launched a campaign to run against Karen Bass, the current mayor, terrible mayor, but left-leaning. I mean, left, seriously. She's not a woke progressive, but she's right on the border. As a Democratic Socialist, Ray Huang in LA, same platform, basically. She was a social justice organizer, worked for decades in LA. And, you know, put out a statement saying, you know, I've served God through social justice work, and now I'm being called to run for mayor and see the changes that the social justice movement in LA we've been trying to build for years. Pay attention to that part. I've been working 20 years for a social justice movement. Now I'm going to run and try to take control of the city and implement that social justice movement. That's what Mondami's doing in New York. That's what Wilson will do in Seattle. And that's what Huang will do in LA. These are three major U.S. cities. It's a good shot she unseats Mayor Bass. The Republican candidate probably doesn't have a chance. I mean, he did a fighting chance last time, a big developer, you know, big LA developer, but probably not. I mean, I'm going to put, betting odds, I'd put it on she wins. Bass is a horrible mayor, so people get rid of Bass in a heartbeat. And I think more moderate Democrats will vote for the Democratic Socialist candidate, just like they did in New York, just like they did in Seattle. The hard left, the young left, the angry, frustrated, you know, younger vote will. The educated white woman vote will. And I honestly, I will not be surprised if we find out that LA, New York, and Seattle, well, New York and Seattle already do, all have Democratic Socialist mayors. And again, universal housing is one of her plans. Free transportation, affordability. Everybody's offering free everything. I'm not a fan, as I've said, of what they're offering or how they're offering it, but I understand where it's coming from. People are frustrated and fed up. They feel like I keep working and losing. And I see the elites, including the ones in my own party, if I'm a Democrat, just doing fine. Nobody's making my life easier. And Huang said a similar thing. She said, we're in a place in our country and in our political environment where folks feel stuck and afraid. They feel like nothing is going to change. And the things that are changing are making things even worse. Yeah, she's not wrong. And by the way, that sentiment goes for the populist right as well, right? Just because they don't want to do democratic socialist ideas doesn't mean they don't agree with the sentiment. That's why Trump got so much support. People are like, to change the system, like nothing's changing. And when it is changing, it seems for the worse. Oddly enough, the progressive left is a version of America First. It's like New Yorkers first, poor New Yorkers first. The majority of New Yorkers are getting screwed. The 65% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, put them first. I actually think the populist right has a better idea of how to do that than the Democratic Socialist left. But they're both sort of screaming for the same thing. Put the people first, because the people are in second place. Don't need to look any further than what just happened this past week in the shutdown bill that the Democrats stupidly hinged on trying to get Obamacare premiums locked in. Similar idea. Health insurance is too expensive. Ensure the premium subsidies and we'll agree to open the government. The problem is, as I've said, the premium subsidies don't lower your health insurance costs. They simply subsidize with taxpayer dollars the insurance companies to keep jacking up your insurance rate. It's like a Band-Aid. You're not actually solving the problem. The insurers are jacking up your insurance rates. You're just paying the insurers off while they do it. Great, we're going to triple your rates. Okay, great. The government will give you 2/3 of that triple. Awesome. Then let's quadruple it. Give it. Oh, you want some more? And literally, it's like hostage negotiation. It's like we're holding hostages. What do you want? It's like, don't negotiate with terrorists. We're negotiating with terrorists. I mean, the healthcare industry is a ripoff. The hospitals are ripping you off. The mega medical corporations, which are the hospitals, are ripping you off. The insurance companies are ripping you off in collusion with them and in collusion with the government. The conservatives were right to say no. We won't just throw in guaranteed premiums. But they're wrong not to realize, and I'm hoping some of them do, that the extraordinary, rapidly rising cost of healthcare is killing people. It's the thing that's supposed to give you protection is killing people. They can't afford it. And the insurance companies feel no obligation to lower rates. They just justify it. Oh, we got to double them. We got to triple them. Remember Obamacare was going to lower your premiums and give you free choice? Remember that? Any of you old enough? Remember Obamacare when it started? Obama promised lower premiums for everybody. Keep your doctor. You can't keep your doctor and your premiums have quadrupled and they're going up again. The solution is not just to keep paying off the insurers, keep paying off the people holding us hostage. It's to break the logjam. There's a reason why 2 major U.S. cities and now a 3rd one are likely to have Democratic Socialist mayors. We're not talking Democrats. We're talking people who fundamentally think capitalism sucks. They aren't like, oh, we're Democrats who believe in a more positive version of capitalism that balances. No, they're Democratic Socialists. We actively believe in a socialist agenda. The government runs everything. The government provides you your health care. The government provides you your transportation for free. The government provides you your education for free. The government insures your housing. The government insures low costs in stores. It's a pure, straight-on socialist model with an election, thus democratic socialism. It doesn't work. But I understand why people want it. It's the same reason socialism and communism were birthed to begin with in the beginning of the 1900s. The same pain point for people was there. It's just that the solution didn't fix it. This solution won't fix it either. But don't for a second think the pain point is fake. That pain point is so real, whatever side of the political divide you're on. And when I find out that as they open the shutdown, one of the nice little things the Senate stuck in the bill to pass to the House to open the government was, and by the way, Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, signed off on this, as did the majority leader, John Thune, from the Republican. This little provision dubbed requiring Senate notification for Senate data. What did it do? It allowed senators, and only senators, who were targeted in the former special counsel Jack Smith's investigation of January 6th, called the Arctic Frost. That's what they called it. Love how they come up with these names for these things. The investigations, even the ICE operations, Arctic Frost. If you were a senator who was investigated and they tapped your phones, which they did to about 8, 9 senators, you can sue the government with a guarantee for up to $500,000. Got it. So if you're one of the tiny elites who got targeted here, you got a special provision in the bill to open the government that you can get $500,000 pretty much guaranteed if you sue the government for tapping your phone. Awesome, dudes. Did I get some benefit? Did the rest of America get a benefit? No, just you guys, because you guys are suffering, right? You're paycheck to paycheck too. It's really tough for you. You need that $500,000 guarantee. It's fucking disgusting. And most of the people who took it were Republicans who put that in. Who wanted that? Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz. Yeah, if you're a conservative, you're like, we love Ted Cruz. We love Lindsey Graham. Yeah, well, love him a little less. That is so inappropriate on so many levels. It's morally inappropriate. It's ethically inappropriate. It's not legally inappropriate because they're the Senate, so they can do it, right? That's your prerogative. My mic just muted. It's why you're allowed to do it, because you run the ship. It's why, we'll get to in a second, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, when asked, did she ask Trump, he didn't want to endorse her for Senate? She's like, I wouldn't want to be a U.S. Senator. In that cesspool of corruption, that's what the problem is. And it's a problem on the right and the left. How dare they put that in? We're not going to guarantee the subsidies for healthcare. No, we're not agreeing to any of this bullshit. But by the way, let's stick in a provision that makes sure any of us who got targeted in that can get $500,000 essentially. Wow. Just put your greed on display. It's literally one of the more, it's gotten very little attention, and it's just so offensive and disgusting, and shows you exactly why people are pissed at the system. You thought it was worth sticking in a little provision to guarantee. And by the way, I'm not against people having cheaper health care. I just think the Obamacare premium plan isn't working. You're just, like I said, paying off the people holding us hostage. I'm not saying the market's working great and let them just quadruple rates and too bad for all of you who can't pay for it. My health insurance is ridiculously expensive. And my premium's expensive. To even have the premium I have, which is super expensive, I have to basically have a massive deductible, which means short of a catastrophic injury or something that hospitalizes me, I'll never use up my deductible in healthcare payments. I will spend my deductible out of pocket, long before I ever get to any benefit. But I'll still pay them for the privilege of paying out of pocket just in case something bad happens. And I don't have an option to just pick catastrophic. Hey, you know what? I'll take my chances. I'll pay out of pocket. I'll go to doctors on my own dime because it's going to be this and that and little things. And it'll add up to a couple $1,000s a year. And then something really bad happens, I'm catastrophically prepared. No, can't do that. Got to put you in a package. California resident, got to put you in an HMO or a PPO. The health insurance companies run it, will jack up the prices. And hey, Obamacare subsidies will pay for it. That doesn't work. But the U.S. senators involved in this process and representatives in Congress, they got great health care. They passed Obamacare for everybody else and kept gold-plated things for themselves. They got the benefit of the pick-your-own-doctor model that Obama promised. And now they thought it made sense when pushing this bill through after a 46-day shutdown that they were not going to compromise and not take any of the bullshit the Democrats were offering. It made sense to them to jack in a little provision where we get to sue the government for $500,000 and win it if they tapped our phones. Really? You thought this was the time to sneak that in? Just disgusting. And they didn't even make it public, right? I mean, there are senators on both sides of the aisle who were like, no, I didn't even know it was there, I mean, Chip Roy, obviously, Texas, kind of populist, he's an MTG kind of guy. Republican, Austin Scott, also Morgan Griffith, Virginia and Georgia reps as well. Totally frustrated. Now, they said we're not going to end the shutdown because of it, but they're like, not okay, just not okay. And basically, it's like, look, this pops up in the bill and we have a choice. Leave it in there or pull it out and have to start all over again to open the government up. The senators knew that. They knew, hey, we'll stick this in last minute. And in order for them to get it out, they'll have to start the whole process over again. So no one will do that. So we'll get our little thing. Well, fuck you. Seriously. Wow. This is why your institution is so corrupt. And this is why Marjorie Taylor Greene, doesn't want to be a U.S. senator. I'm going to get to Marjorie Taylor Greene for the last part of this show. But Chip Roy said, how did he receive it? He's like, the lords don't like to be told by mere commoners what to do. but we're going to have to take a pretty strong stand on this one. Now, they didn't. They're going to let it go through. But the Lords is, the House of Commons. The Senate was based on that. And the commoners is just the members of Congress, the average representing the basics, Some people did vote against it. Greg Stube from Florida said, I'm going to vote against it. He said, I'm not going to vote to send Lindsey Graham $500,000. He's a Republican. The guy voting. He's like, I'm not going to vote to send Lindsey Graham $500,000. We're compensating senators. The ultimate insiders, we're compensating them. That money comes from us, by the way. I mean, you can't get that remedy. I can't get that remedy. Only the senators can. Not even Congress people can. I mean, Mike Johnson, the Senate, the House Majority, the head of the House, Speaker of the House, said, he'd like to have it out. I mean, he's not going to disrupt the whole thing, but he's like, I'm not a fan at all that they did this. I mean, people didn't even know it was in there, to be honest, And Senator Heinrich said, I'm so upset that the majority and minority leaders, remember, Democrat and Republican leaders both put this in. That's my point. Republicans just didn't do it. Chuck Schumer signed off on it too. They didn't consult. They didn't negotiate. And he said, this is precisely what's wrong with the Senate. All right. So bring it back to MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's fascinating. She's always fascinated me. This all comes up for me with her because over the weekend, Trump threw her under the bus, like hard under the bus. Now, remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene is probably, I would argue, one of Donald Trump's closest and most critical allies. She helped him become president, majorly. She was there when others weren't. Remember, all the Republicans on board now bowing on that bended knee. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, King Trump, whatever. And I'm mimicking the No Kings protest, but they treat him like he's a king. They weren't there. They didn't think he was going to make it. So they weren't all on board. MTG was on board. She was upfront on board out there, spending a ton of her own money, fighting, putting political capital on the line. She's like, this is it, MAGA, make America great again. I'm on board with this man, this movement. This is what I'm doing. Everybody else jumped on board once it looked like the train was definitely going, which is how Washington works. The politicians wait, hedge their bets. MTG didn't hedge her bets. She went out front, all in. She helped get him elected, has been probably one of his fiercest, most loyal supporters. But she committed the cardinal sin in the Trumpverse, criticizing him. This is what scares me about Trump. It's sort of, I'm not saying he's an authoritarian, but the mindset, you cannot criticize me. You cannot go against me. And if you do, I will publicly rebuke you, and I will threaten you, and I will try to destroy your career. MTG's greatest mistake was going publicly against him on a couple issues, calling the bullshit in the bullshit. And, and one of them was the HB visas, the HB 61 visas, whatever, the foreign worker visas that bring in skilled workers, which most companies want, especially tech companies want to be, and bringing in 600,000 Chinese students, keeping them in U.S. universities, even though they're spying on us. Not all of them, but probably 200,000 of them are probably literally spies. She's like, no, they don't get to come in and spy on us. No, we have workers here we can give those jobs to. Now, companies, elite big tech companies especially, go, hey, no, we want workers who can do it, and we're going to get the worker from China or Asia or somewhere else, most likely in Asia, who can do the job better than the American can. So we'll get them a special visa. Trump signed off on it because Trump's ultimately a business guy. But that's not a super populist America First approach. MTG is like, well, that's not putting America first. America First is train our people to do the job, which in fairness to her, again, to show the parallels, that's what they would do in China. Like, that's what the Chinese would do. They'd be like, no, we're not getting someone else and give them the leg up. We're going to make our own people able to do it. MTG is like a right-wing populist, but there's always, I've always said, a comparison between the right-wing populists and the left-wing socialists / communists. There's an overlap. There's a part of Kamala Harris's Venn diagram that's pretty big, oddly enough, in a lot of ways. She does it, and Trump literally that, and she wants the Epstein files released, all out. She's like, I don't know. I've never seen or heard anyone say President Trump did anything wrong. I don't know why he's afraid to release this stuff. We ran on this, release the files, because Trump's been all blocking it. So what does he do over the weekend? He just throws her under the bus. She's horrible. She's a traitor. He calls her a traitor. She's a far left lunatic. You're calling MTG a far left lunatic? God, if MTG is a far left lunatic, what does that make everybody else who's like almost everybody to the left of her? I guess that would mean like basically all of Congress is far left lunatics. And the far left lunatics, they're just off the fucking charts. Like, how could you even remotely with a straight face call Marjorie Taylor Greene a left-wing lunatic? Like, nothing? It's so absurd, it's comical. It's like calling the hottest girl in class a fat slut, you know, like, it's like, really? Like, does anybody buy this? You're calling the dude who's like ripped to the tens and he's the quarterback on the team, like just a retard cripple? Like, I'm just saying, like, MTG's a left-wing lunatic. Wow, I've got a whole new universe to look at today. Why did he do it? She felt hurt. She also got a ton of death threats because he said she was a traitor. And you know how it goes when Trump says somebody's bad and they're evil. It's literally like what the communists did. When Chairman Mao said, you're bad, everybody's like, cross him off the list. People like, we should kill her. Kill the bitch. She went on CNN. I'll give her credit. She went on CNN first with Dana Bash. Dana Bash, who had no intention of trying to give her a nice interview, straight-eyed. Dana Bash she's good, but she's old school journalism. Stares straight ahead, nods her head like she's having no emotion as her brain's like spinning. You can see it. Pretend she has no reaction, except to tightly lip, make sure as soon as the question's answered, to point out exactly where she missed something. Like, so what you're saying is, and she called her out. She's like, suddenly you're worried about hostile, comments from the president. Where were you with all the hostile comments he made to everybody else? I think she expected MTG to do a kind of a spin dance and whatever and go, well, da-da-da. And MTG takes a minute and goes, that's a fair criticism. I did look the other way on it. And it wasn't okay. Maybe it took this for me to see it, but it wasn't okay. And I've been working for a while to kind of sort of correct my own head on this and realize that we turned the heat up too high. We're too hostile. It's not right. I participated in that. I believe in Jesus. I believe in forgiveness. I got to bring the heat down. We need civil discourse. We need dialogue. We can't keep doing this. This was not clearly an attempt to like self-defend herself why she's suddenly saying it. It's obvious she's been thinking about this. And she's like, yeah, it did hit home right now. And I apologize. I was wrong. I contributed to this climate. I'm guilty as charged. I wish Dana Bash could have said, wow, this is a great moment, a great opportunity for us as a nation to hear this. Super right-leaning, not far-left lunatic, MTG saying, let's bring it down. Let me get AOC on the line. Hey, AOC, you around? You want to have this conversation three-way? We'll put you on remote. Let's you two talk about this. This would be good for the country. Instead, Dana Bash is like, so you're saying the hostile statements you made on December 3rd, 2017, and on December 7th, like you're saying those things, like she couldn't help herself. And MTG's like, I address those things. I'm not defending them. Like, Dana Bash missed the moment. And I think she was deer in the headlights because she never saw the moment coming. I didn't miss the moment. MTG basically said, I don't work for Donald Trump. I don't serve Donald Trump. I serve one thing, God. She's a Christian. And I work for the people of Georgia in my district and the well-being of the people of the United States to put America first. I don't serve or work for President Donald Trump. His arguably biggest, earliest, strongest political supporter who was in elected office. She didn't say it vindictively. She didn't say, fuck you. She said, he's going to do what he's going to do. I don't work for him. I work for my constituents and the well-being of the Americans. That's what everybody should be saying on both sides. You don't work for Donald Trump, nor should your job be to kill Donald Trump off in any way possible. So I'll vote against absolutely anything and everything if Donald Trump likes it. Donald Trump cures cancer. Cancer can't be cured. Undo the cure, please. You work for the American people, all of you. And the American people, most of us feel none of you really are working for us. And increasingly, people are wondering if Donald Trump is really working for them. I mean, the machine can keep saying he is, and he can keep saying our record of accomplishments is so great. Why would Marjorie Taylor Greene look past our record of the most successful presidency in the first X number of months ever, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Charlie Brown it, all you want. Results speak louder than words. Most people right now aren't feeling the results. I think some of what Trump's doing is amazing, some great stuff. Most people aren't feeling the results in their pocketbook right now. And they're wondering, is his agenda more about them or him and his, fame? And that's where a lot of the populists go. I don't know. MTG said an interesting thing. She's like, I'd like to see Air Force One just parked permanently at Andrews Air Force Base for a while. Doesn't need to be going flying all over. We don't need to solve the rest of the world right now. Can we fix here at home? That sentiment is what's getting a Democratic Socialist mayor in New York, a Democratic Socialist mayor in Seattle, and probably a Democratic Socialist mayor in Los Angeles. This is the divide I'm talking about. It's not between the left and the right. It's between the haves and the have-nots, the class that controls power, whether that's a Gavin Newsom or a Chuck Schumer, or for that matter, increasingly possible, a Donald Trump. The MAGA movement is bigger than Trump. The left socialist, I'm not going to call it woke, but the leftist movement is bigger than these candidates. And they have a common thread, back to Kamala's Venn diagram. People feel the system is stacked against them. Trump's greatest insight was recognizing that and going after it. If he appears to start being part of the system or rewarding the system or defending the system, people go, what? Which is why the Epstein files was an issue. What are you hiding? Who are you trying to protect? If it's not you, you worried you're going to look bad? Because we already said nobody said you did anything wrong. Who are you trying to protect? I don't know what happened to him late night over the weekend after this whole thing with MTG, because he came out and said release everything, which is a smart move. Full transparency. That's what I want. That's what, excuse me, full transparency. That's what I want. See my pen? Half transparent. Now you see it. Now you don't. I want the full transparency. That's what we want. That's what we need. I got more to pick up on this on Wednesday. Leave us on a cliffhanger. There was so much I wanted to get to that ties into this and to the pending civil war I'm talking about. But let's just leave it right there. Think about MTG. Like or hate her. Think about what she said. I want to see AOC say the same thing. I want to see the two of them shake hands and say, we can't stand each other politically. But as MTG said, and I've said this before, I did a show in bars that never went anywhere where I'd ask people to disagree, to argue it out with each other, and two people couldn't agree. Conservative white woman and a like Latino person, brown person. I think it was Latino on the left. Obama guy, young. Couldn't agree on anything, and I said, "Can you agree on anything?" And they said, "Yeah, we're all Americans." MTG said it. She said, we're all Americans. We have that in common. And I'll be honest, you got that more in common than you do with the elites, the left and the right, the Democrats and the Republicans in the Senate, who are going to give themselves a little special provision so that they can be sure they're fine, while the rest of you just can go down the river and drown. It's Rob Nelson. Thanks for watching. See you on Wednesday.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen, you're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.